Very nice.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Alvarez TV.
Hi guys, how you doing?
What are you doing today, mate?
Mate, today it is all about capos. Sort of types of capos that we have on the market today and how they're affecting different types of playing, right? Whether you're playing up the top of the neck, whether you're playing a certain type of guitar. And this is really nice because we got to basically play 3 chords in 3 different positions, and we've got that different kind of tone. I mean, you have that lovely open thing, resonance. You know, I'm almost playing like a mandolin at the top.
So we kind of did a bit of a 3-part harmony thing there, right?
By playing the same 3 chords.
Yeah, in different open.
Essentially, you're playing D, G, and A. I'm playing G, C, and D. And you're playing A, D, and E. Right.
E sus 4.
Right.
E,
So we're all open. We're playing all open chords.
And that's one of the great things about capos is you can go anywhere and you can have open notes ringing, right?
And open strings on acoustic guitar is what you're looking for, I think, a lot of the time.
But in a conversation before this, Tim said, because I said, what do you mean like some people say it's cheating? Like, I've never heard somebody say using capo is cheating. Because in the acoustic world, like capos just, often it's singer-songwriter stuff, finding where you want to sing, the key you want to sing in. But you said it's sometimes frowned upon.
I've heard it frowned upon. Yeah, I've heard it as frowned upon, yeah, because people think, I mean, I don't think it occurs all over the place, but I've heard it, instead of barring something, you know, and build that strength in the first finger, easy for me to say, that people would use a capo instead, play E. Now, I think it's important to be able to bar chords, of course.
Yeah.
Like, have that strength. But there's a definite different sound there.
Definite.
You can hear it, right?
Yeah. Well, the capo is made from different material to your finger. That's doing something, right?
And also, just the finger, the fleshy tone of the finger as opposed to like the tone of an open string is...
Well, it's sort of simulating the nut, isn't it?
True, yeah. I mean, it's short in the scale. I think one thing we said earlier is if some people, whether you read about this or, you know, string tension is really important, which we've talked about many times. And the longer the scale of the strings, the longer the scale is, the more tension you will have on the strings because you need that to get up to pitch.
Yeah.
So the shorter the scale of guitar, the less tension on the strings, so they're a bit more loose, nice to play sometimes for some things when they're not too tight, especially bending or fingerstyle, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, you shorten the scale length with a capo, but you don't actually impact the tension. But what you can do is you can tune down. If you want to have less tension on the strings, you can tune the guitar down like a step or a step and a half or even 2.
And then sit the capo on
and
the second
the capo,
position.
get it back up to pitch.
Yeah.
And you've got looser strings, which you might find nicer for some things. So that's cool.
I always use a capo pretty much every day. I like to mess around.
But you sing?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I just want to find a key that I'm happy with. I just find it, or whatever. But I also use it if I'm in the studio. We talked about what we do in an episode on 8 strings, right? And we talked about how I remember years ago, we would always kind of double up with a 12 string. I kind of got used to just doing that. So often if I'm, got an acoustic rhythm track going on, I will do that. But I'll do this a lot. So I'll play something in an open position, and then I'll put something on the 7th fret or something, and I'll play up there. And it gives it a kind of a mandolin sort of feel, but it just doubles up like a 12 string would do. So that's a kind of a creative way of using it. It isn't just about changing the,
like what we did there. I mean, there's nothing nicer than listening to the 3-part harmony singers, and they come in, it's gorgeous. And for the guitars to do that as well, all that frequency that you're covering, and they're brilliant. But we've bought, like, how many capos have you got? Capos, sorry for our American friends.
What we got here? 3, 4, 5,
8.
6, 7, 8.
9.
8 capos. Have we got a 9th? No capo.
2. Oh, you weren't using, sorry, Chris wasn't using a capo.
I think we've got 8 here.
So we bought 8 capos. And we've been messing around this morning with all these different capos, from triggers to actions, cradles, levers, all that sort of stuff, all different, usually hard rubber sort of, touching the strings. And it's absolutely mad how different they sound.
I thought I was going a bit mad when I was hearing different sounds at home when they all came delivered to the house and I was trying them all out. And then, thankfully, we all hear the difference.
So we just did some recording just to prove that we weren't going mad. And the difference of tone in different capos is really, really noticeable,
Yeah.
audible.
But
it's
some of the
just-
manufacturers have done something, right, where they've got materials that they've changed the material to make it sound, what, I don't know, more like a finger, like more like, or
maybe,
or,
I don't know, I guess some of the rubber's harder than others, definitely seems that way. But I think there's probably, like we said, there's 2 or 3 things that could be affecting the tone of your guitar when you use a capo, which is like, we're getting into the weeds here a little bit. Like we said, there's the mass, so the size and the mass of the capo itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, how much tension is putting on the strings, you know, how much is snipping that. Because when you hear the B-roll here, you'll hear that some are a lot more middly and some are more treble and clear and some are a bit more warmer. And I've never thought about it. Like,
No.
you go buy a capo, you stick it on,
Yeah.
and now we've bought 8, and then somebody said, these sound really different. And then we
Yeah.
record them and they do. You could actually choose
It's
capo.
true. I think I was
for its
thinking
tone.
about capos, about tension.
Yeah.
We talked about tension before. It was like, oh, is it going to work on it? Because some guitars maybe won't like it, right? Some guitars are going to be, if you try and put too much tension on the string, maybe go out of tune, intonations,
Does
maybe a
that? Yeah,
problem.
absolutely.
And maybe it's good to have, because some of those trigger capos have a way of actually sort of,
Yeah,
you know, applying
loosening.
less or more tension to
Yeah.
it, which is good. I liked this, which I thought was good, which is that you can just grip it, put it into place. That worked
G7s,
really
I mean,
well.
as just for use on and off is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
The-
But it is fascinating how the different
Well,
types sounded so
and
different.
also the high tech, you know, like there's some sort of clever clutch system in the G7 where you can use with one hand, and then there's the tri-action D'Addario, which is
was
applying
this one,
pressure
wasn't
in
it?
different ways. So it's-
Yeah.
and then obviously the triggers, and I guess what changes it is the tension of the spring and all that sort of stuff. So maybe capo or capo makers, designers or whatever can let us know why it would change the tone of a guitar so dramatically, which we'll show later. But I think, Tim, you were going to say like you know, for use as a gigging musician, you always have
Always
Yeah.
have this. I used to always have a G7 actually, because
Yeah.
I used to find them very easier to use and move on and off. But this cradle cap or the Dario, where it stays on the back of the neck, sits at the top of the headstock.
that's pretty handy, isn't it?
And I do think out of all the 8, this one, I mean, it is the most expensive out of all the 8, but I do think it sounds the best. I think you get an even pressure across the fretboard, and it just sounds the best. And I think because it's small, there's not a lot of mass to it. It's not stealing any of the vibration, which is what
Yeah.
I think is happening with that G7. But you like that sound. I prefer this sound, and then that's where it comes down to personal preference.
Well, I
isn't it?
liked it up here, to be honest with you. But when we were listening to them before, you and I both, because Tim was in here and you and I were sitting in the control room, we went,
Actually, I like the Nashville because it was
I
super
like the
clear.
Nashville as well.
Yeah.
it was.
The trigger, whatever that does, it was like it was just coming through. But because some of the other ones sounded a little warmer,
Yeah, well, that's
and then
it.
some sounded clearer.
Yeah.
The other thing I found when I was using, because when they all came, I was working on an All-Star video actually, and there was a lick to play that kind of descended down, and like I ended up having to transfer between finger and thumb to hit that F, and I found this really got in the way because of the mass of it, the size of the thing. So there's that to consider as well. Like I've never thought so much about capos, but there is like,
But once you go and buy 8 of them,
yeah, once you've got 8 and you try them all out, then you really know there's a load of
there's
difference
capos
there.
around the house. What's happening to that? All these capos appearing.
But alongside that, I think it is worth, like we'll obviously go through and we'll hear how they all sound different, but there is much more tonal difference than I thought there'd be. I thought there'd be almost none.
But some of those trigger ones have no adjustment on them at all,
Yeah.
you know, and some are a lot more.
I think you
pressure
know,
than
from an
others.
engineering or a mechanical perspective, it's like getting the tension right across. You know, how much force is pressing down across all strings is, I guess, what people trying to do. Back in the early days, like there was only those Jim Dunlop, what were they called? It with a piece of, it was like a piece
yes.
of
It's like
so
elastic
webbing
or something, yeah.
Yeah, and you put the little thing in.
Yeah,
there,
but you can sort of
Yeah.
apply more tension to it by putting
And
on
then there was a shove,
almost
which
like
is
a
like
belt.
if you had any money, you could get a shove, you know. That was a big thing. And now
It's like
there's,
a plethora.
now you can pay a couple $100 for a capo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that this takes from, I can't remember what the brand is. So this is a D'Addario cradle capo. The thing that the design I've seen, it's like 200 quid. Like not this one.
60 or
This is
something,
60 quid.
yeah. gets up there. But
can
they're
get-
engineered
You're
products.
playing some of those 50 quid picks.
50 quid back, it's 20,
Yeah.
200
Yeah.
quid
I
cap.
say
no.
the G7 takes it for style.
It's just ergonomically
Yeah.
kind of pleasing. I love the fact you can
Considered.
it's just so easy to put on and just grip
Bing,
and
yeah.
it's just in tune. It just right amount
So
of pressure.
what else, mate? Obviously, you're more pro
Of it.
musician than us. But like, what would you say is because there's partial capos?
Partial capos, which we've kind of touched upon as well. I've got 2 with me, so we've actually got 10 capos. We've got 2 in my heart.
Oh,
I've
God.
got 2 in the case. But you've got your kind of alternate tunings in an instant, which are really handy. We'll kind of talk through those. It might even be an episode in itself to talk through the explanation. But the other thing that I think is worth mentioning with capos and stuff, and them getting a bad rap, is like guitars have sweet spots, in my opinion, right? So
That's
like,
very true.
it's again, we're talking about personal preference, but isn't all music personal preference anyway? Because you have your own taste and whatever. But this guitar for me really works with a capo on the 2nd fret. I play a lot of fingerstyle stuff, and I think this guitar particularly seems to. It's a bit,
Are you in G minor?
so that's F sharp
F sharp minor.
But if you're playing like kind of using lots of open strings, I just kind of think it works. It sounds really sweet here. You were saying something similar about your guitar, that your parlor, your kind of favorite. I can't remember what fret. And I think each guitar has a sweet spot that's worth exploring. The kind of idea that like, I don't want
Yeah.
to use a capo because it's cheating. I'm going to learn how to bar the chords or whatever. Fair enough, learn how to bar the chords, but also like explore all these options that are there and used for a reason.
I think that's true. There is a sweet spot on a guitar. I usually find it's either a G or an open E when you in an open chord. Somehow I don't know, man. You're just getting all the body of that chord. It just rings out. But I think that for me, going today, like trying to find what suits you. I think keys, especially if you're singing, and also different tunings, and using capos as well, or down tuning, and then for tension.
Yeah.
And then bringing it back up using a capo somewhere.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
nice.
And there's also the thing of like certain songs sound like they do because of the
Totally
capo
right.
position.
Yes.
We all-
Totally right.
We all know
Yes.
a song.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll play it, and you probably know it if you played. Right, that's the intro to an Oasis song. And if you played, I'm going off the top of my head here, but I think it's
Yeah,
very
you
different,
recognise
right?
that, yeah,
Same chords.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm adding using the chords they use there, but fundamentally they're playing their F sharp minor and A.
Yeah.
If I don't use those specific capo like position with the specific chord voices, it doesn't sound like the song. And that's all over the place. Hotel California. There's a 7th fret capo acoustic at the start. Fire and Rain by James Taylor is like 3rd fret capo with a C shape. You know. Oops.
You do recognise it instantly.
Instantly, right?
On those big songs.
That's important to have
Yeah.
and to mess around with and to use. So I think that's another
Brilliant.
point that's worth mentioning.
Super. So we'll do loads of B-roll. You can hear different capos. We'll do sort of a A-Bs with using your hands and capos, and then we'll go into showing all of these
Yeah.
wonderful contraptions
Yeah.
and how they sound different, which we just kind of learned today.
Yeah. And see which one is your favourite.
Yeah.
Because I bet everyone's is different there, subjectivity across the board.
Yeah, no doubt.
Nice.
Great stuff.
Thanks for
Cheers,
tuning in, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
See you. Bye-bye.
See ya. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button and consider subscribing to our channel. If you want to watch more videos like this one, click the video on the screen now.